In the last video, we drew the line between the testers AI replaces and the ones it upgrades. One of the biggest upgrades was becoming a quality signal designer. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like and why production is the only place where real quality lives. It passed in staging. We've all said it, we've all believed it. And then production happened. Here's the truth. Staging is a sanitized version of your system. Real traffic doesn't show up, real user chaos doesn't show up, real third party failures definitely don't show up. Production is the real environment. It's the only place with real traffic, real data, and real everything going wrong at once. And the QA engineers who learn observability, they don't just find bugs, they prevent incidents, protect customer trust, and become the person leadership calls first. Today, I'm showing you why observability is the new testing and how it becomes your career advantage in the next 12 months. So, staging gives you confidence, production gives you truth. Here's the uncomfortable reality of traditional QA. You write a perfect test plan, you execute it, everything passes, you sign off, then you ship, and then error rates spike. Latency creeps up quietly, payments fail for 2% of users, and suddenly QA is getting blamed for something no UI test would ever catch. Why does this keep happening? Because perhaps microservices created weird emergent behavior that nobody planned for. Third-party dependencies failed at the worst possible moment. Performance issues only showed up at real scale, and users did things in production that no test script ever imagined. This is why shift right isn't optional anymore. Shift right means your job doesn't end at it passed. Your job extends into what happens after you ship. If you want to learn more about what shift left and shift right are and why it's critical, you can watch the video linked here and in the description. You don't need to become a site reliability engineer. You don't need a PhD in distributed systems. You need to become a quality signal designer. Here's what that looks like in practice. Signal 1, define what healthy actually means. Most teams ship features without ever agreeing on what working correctly looks like in production. Your job is to define that before the release, not after the incident. For your key user journeys, define success rate, what percent of transactions should complete without error, latency thresholds, how slow is too slow for this flow, error budgets, how much failure is acceptable before we act, critical dependency health, payment gateway, third-party APIs. QA leaders don't just test features, they define what system health looks like. Signal 2, instrumentation is a quality requirement, not an ops problem. Testability must include observability. If you can't see what's happening in production, you can't guarantee anything. Push for structured logs, not something went wrong, actual context. Meaningful error codes, not just 500, but why 500. Correlation IDs, so you can trace one user's journey across 12 microservices. Dashboards for key flows, checkout, login, payment, onboarding, etc. If you can't observe it, you can't guarantee it. Simple as that. Signal 3, release validation in production. Modern teams don't just deploy and pray. They deploy with guardrails. Canary deploys ship to 2% of users first, watch the signals, then expand. Feature flags, turn features on/off without redeploying. Synthetic monitoring, automated checks that run against production 24/7. Real user monitoring, actual user experience data. This is how you catch issues in minutes, not days. And yes, this is QA work. Don't let anyone tell you it's just an ops thing. As a QA person, I wrote scripts to monitor production failures in one of the monitoring tools, such as New Relic. I also went on to get certification in that. That company and the development manager really involved the entire QA team early and in all the critical decisions, and we enjoyed being valued in the team. So go ahead and take the lead if you don't have a very cooperative team. No one is going to give things to you in a platter as a tester. You have to show the leadership. It's something not spoken much, but you have to respect this field first for others to respect you. Signal 4, turn incidents into system improvements. When something breaks in production, most teams write a postmortem and move on. The QA leader asks different questions. What signal would have caught this earlier? What guardrail prevents this from happening again? What contract or validation should exist at the API level? That's how you turn a bad day into a better system. And that's how you go from QA person who was there when it broke to QA leader who made sure it never broke again. Here's how your identity changes when you own production signals. A tester finds bugs. An automation engineer scales checks. A quality architect designs testability. A strategist designs confidence across the entire delivery lifecycle. An authority leader prevents the next outage before anyone even sees it coming. Observability is one of the fastest paths from QA contributor to QA leader because production incidents are expensive, really expensive, and the person who consistently reduces them doesn't get ignored, they get promoted. If you want to be the QA engineer who owns reality, not just test environments, subscribe. This channel is for testers who want authority. Comment shift right and I'll put together a practical guide. What dashboards to ask for, what signals to define before your next release, and how to use production data to build your reputation without becoming a full-time operations person. You now have the observability mindset. You know how to own production signals. But here's the final piece, and it's the one most QA engineers never make. In the next video, the final episode of this series, I'm going to show you why your bug reports are actually holding your career back and what authority level QA communication looks like instead. This is the episode that changes how leadership sees you. Don't skip it.